Welcome back to NYSE TV Live, everyone. I'm Christine Scholler here in studio. While Valentine's Day and President's Day bookend this upcoming weekend, one other event stands out, and that is NBA All-Star Weekend. The world's best basketball players will compete in a new tournament-style format and an array of skills competitions from tonight through Sunday. Joining me now to set the scene is Liam McKeone. He's a senior breaking trending news writer at Sports Illustrated. Liam, great to have you, especially ahead of the big event. And so we got to know, between the skills competitions, the energy at the Chase Center, and of course the games themselves, what is generating the most buzz heading into All-Star Weekend?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Kristen. I'd say that there's tons of buzz around the new format that you mentioned, the tournament-style format. There's also a lot of buzz around the dunk contest, as there always is, along with the three-point shooting competition. But to be honest with you, a lot of the talk that, around NBA All-Star Weekend is the incredibly active NBA trade deadline that happened last week. Very unusual as far as star players changing teams mid-season, led obviously by the famous Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis trade. And then you have a lot of competition there as far as those teams acclimating those players, and there's just so much talk around what the second half of the season will look like. But this, the All-Star break, as always, serves as a good opportunity to kind of take stock around the league and then really engage in some fun activities this weekend.
Definitely. So I know that there are some differences this time around, and maybe the biggest thing really that stands out, Liam, on the court is it's not going to be two teams competing on Sunday. There will be double that for this year. What is behind the NBA's decision to adopt this new tournament-style format?
Well, as you said, there are 4 teams. There are going to be 3 teams of NBA All-Stars and 1 Rising Stars team, which will be determined by the Rising Stars Challenge tonight. The NBA's thinking behind it is they're just trying to get more attention to the game. The All-Star game in recent years has faced a lot of criticism for the games not being super competitive. Fans just really have not been enjoying it. So this is their attempt to try to spice things up. And I think their primary aim is to try to inspire some more competition among the players. Doing that by making the team smaller and making it into more of a playoff style single elimination tournament will put a little bit of personal pride on the line for these All-Stars, and it will allow for all these All-Stars to get a lot more court time than they might have in a normal game with 12 player rosters. The NBA just wants, the days of the All-Star game being a very competitive affair are probably gone at this point, but the NBA just wants people to enjoy what they're seeing and for the players to have fun themselves. And this is their attempt to do that without nixing the game entirely, which is probably their next step.
A prize pool of $1.8 million for the tournament winner, Liam. Do you think that we'll see a stronger sense of urgency from the players with that kind of cash on the line?
I think they will. As everybody knows, these players make quite a bit of money already. And each player that you'll see on the court on Sunday is a multi-million-dollar corporation unto themselves when you take into consideration their off-court value. But it's money, $1.8 million is a lot of money to split among a team of 8 guys. I think that it will be an upper level of competitiveness. I do think that the shorter games will allow for a little bit more of an entertainment value for the fans. And I think the players have heard the noise about the All-Star game and how it's become in recent years. And I think there will be a point made on Sunday by these guys to remind everybody that when they apply themselves, they really can put on quite a show.
Yeah. So leagues like the NBA have been retooling their All-Star formats that we've seen in recent years. What challenges are these leagues facing when it comes to getting fans to actually tune in to these big events?
Well, Kristen, the primary problem is that these are, at their core, exhibition games outside of the Major League Baseball All-Star game, which the winner of that game gets home field advantage in the World Series. But no other sport has that sort of built-in competitive advantage to the All-Star game, and the players now treat it as such. They treat it as an exhibition game, closer to something to an open gym, rather than a true test of their skills against fellow All-Stars. And the fans can tell. The fans can see that lack of effort. The fans can easily tell that these guys aren't trying very hard. So I think that, the league is hoping that this will increase viewership, increase attention. They really just want people talking about this. And they haven't been talking about it because the players just haven't given us much to talk about. I think this year might be different, but the league is certainly hoping so.
I got to ask you about this one, Liam. Probably the biggest story right now in the NBA, and you referenced it earlier, the Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade. I see it on my social media. And is the scrutiny that the Mavs are receiving actually warranted here, or do you think it's an overreaction?
I have to say it's absolutely warranted. Luka Doncic is 25 years old, and he's been named to 5 first-team All-NBA teams. That is a ridiculous number for somebody who's that young. Charles Barkley only had 5 in total, and the Mavericks traded Luka Doncic when he had 5 by the time he was 25 years old. There's one cardinal rule in the NBA when it comes to winning championships, and it's that you have to have a top 5 player to win a championship. The Mavericks had that, and they traded him away for Anthony Davis, who's a wonderful player. But let me put it this way. Anthony Davis's best games are when he's a top 5 player, but he's not like that all the time. Luka Doncic is like that all the time. So the Mavericks, they made their decision, and you could make a case that they have a better team today than they did with Luka Doncic yesterday. But they traded away 10 years of watching a very, 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 very good player in Luka Doncic for a short-term return, and that warrants all the criticism that those kind of moves tend to, garner.
Liam, great to get your take, especially heading into All-Star Weekend. Liam McKeone, he's a senior breaking trending news writer at Sports Illustrated.